is Stephanie, and I'm one of the regional directors at PAX, Program of Academic Exchange. We're so very excited for you to arrive in America for second semester, January to June 2021. Until then, we'd like to provide some virtual content so you can get a little taste of America and American culture. We are going to be exploring the Henry Ford, the Museum of American Innovation in Dearborn, Michigan. Today we're going to explore lots of famous American artifacts housed within the museum to talk about American innovation and why that's important to American history. Great, let's go inside. Now I'd like to introduce my husband, Jeff Koslowski. He is an 11th grade high school world and American history teacher. He teaches at the Henry Ford Academy, which is housed here within the Working Museum. He has been teaching for more than a decade, and he is an absolute expert on all the artifacts here within the museum. Meet Jeff.
Hi, my name is Jeff Koslowski. I'm an instructor here at Henry Ford Academy. I'm really excited that you're going to be coming with me as we explore more than 300 years of American innovation here at the Henry Ford. Join me, will you? Ford Motor Company may have been a 1903 invention, but Henry Ford actually built his car 7 years earlier in 1896. That first car, this one right here. He called it the Quadricycle, as it is made with 4 bicycle tires there. This vehicle represents a lot of what Henry Ford stood for. Innovation, ideas, and also the idea of making something quick, easy, efficient, strong, and at the same time, something that could be built on for later. This particular car, while not functional anymore, does have an operating version in Greenfield Village. And so certain mechanics can actually take this all the way up to 15 miles per hour if they need to. The behemoth that is now Ford Motor Company, believe it or not, started right on the edge of a kitchen sink, just like this one. That little contraption right there is an engine. And it was one of the first engines that Henry Ford actually built that was operational. He and his wife Clara operated this engine Christmas Eve in 1893. And in doing so, laid the groundwork for what Henry Ford could build on, with an engine for his quadricycle and subsequent engines that he would use for his cars. When Ford Motor Company was established in 1903, the first car they made was the Model A. And he went down the alphabet, A to B, and some were even just prototypes. Some never even made it off a piece of paper. But eventually, with design, with innovation, with trial and error, Henry Ford eventually came upon an idea he called the perfect car, his Model T. The Model T was going to be the car that would put Henry Ford on the automotive map forever. Model T was going to be light, it was going to be durable, it was going to be strong, and most importantly, it was going to be affordable. Now people that worked in Henry Ford's factories could actually afford the car that they themselves were building. What started as about an $850 car would eventually lower to just under $300 in the span of 15 years. When Ford Motor Company was at its peak, they were producing a new Model T every 24 seconds. They could take a pile of parts and in less than half an hour turn that pile of parts into a functioning automobile thanks to the moving assembly line. For many people, this was the first car they ever bought, the first car they ever owned, the first car they ever drove. And from there, we can trace many things about businesses, such as car washes, roadside eating, hotels, tourism, Many things came from this very automobile. 15 million of them were built in its 20-year time span, second now only to the Volkswagen Beetle. This car represents not only innovation, but the family's hope that one day they could actually own a car. On a chilly December day in December 1903, two bicycle manufacturers from Ohio built a plane just like this one, basically out of wood and fabric, and brought it to North Carolina. A cold, windy day, they became the first two people to ever take to the skies in a vehicle heavier than air. Orville and Wilbur Wright brought this airplane, and in doing so, set the stage for aviation for years to come. 66 years after their first flight, man would walk on the moon in 1969. The Wright brothers represent innovation. They represent a desire to challenge something that was once thought impossible, to be able to take to the sky. And for those of you who plan on coming, you're probably going to be flying on an airplane as well. And if you are, make sure you give thanks to Orville and Wilbur Wright. Henry Ford was a farm boy, but he hated farm work. He thought it was monotonous, and he thought it was really inefficient. So he was always looking for ways to be able to improve the agricultural process, because he recognized its importance. He began to innovate and create tractors similar to this one, this tractor being built in 1952. But Henry Ford's tractors date back even further than that, and helped put the farming world on a motor and on wheels. Nothing is more iconic in the United States, quite like a McDonald's sign on the side of the road. In the 1940s, two brothers from California were looking for a faster and more efficient way to deliver a hot meal to families on the go. And soon, McDonald's became the dominant name in the newly crowned fast food industry. How McDonald's became so successful involved how they delivered their food. Very similarly to how Henry Ford used a moving assembly line, the McDonald's brothers also wanted their food to come together quickly as well. With their introduction of the speedy service, their menu was short, and the people could choose what they wanted, get it fast, and get back on the road. The perfect thing for the post-World War II United States family that was looking to take advantage of new wealth that they had, new places that they could go. The automotive industry saw many innovations. How many wheels should be on a car? How fast should it go? And can you make my car look like a giant hot dog? That's what the Oscar Meyer folks did in 1952 when they built this one. Today there's a whole fleet of Oscar Meyer Wienermobiles. This one is the oldest one still around. Henry Ford and Ford Motor Company always recognized the importance of advertising when it came to auto racing. They believed that when a car won on one day, that people would go to a Ford dealer and buy a car the very next day. So they always set out to try to do their very best in every form of auto racing, including endurance racing. This car was built in 1967 and was meant to conquer the hardest auto race in the world, the 24 Hours of Le Mans in France. This car was dominant, very, very dominant. This car nicknamed the GT40 in reference to the fact that it was only 40 inches off the ground. It combined the best elements of all manners of auto racing, from its pit crew to the engine to the body style. Everything had to be the best because Ford knew how important this car was going to be in sales in its future. cars like this at Le Mans had to come equipped with some things you wouldn't expect to see at an automobile in an auto race, including turn signals, a trunk, a spare tire, and a horn. Well, I've had a great time speaking with you today. I hope you learned something. Maybe if you come to Michigan, we'll be able to see you here as well. I'd like to leave you with the last little bits here to say that you have the ability to change the future. You have the ability to make a change that's going to be so significant that maybe your name will be mentioned here at the Henry Ford Museum. Will you come up with the next new form of light bulb? Or maybe create the next innovation in the automotive industry, like this autonomous driverless vehicle? One way or the other, glad you came here, and we encourage you to continue to be the difference and have a great time here in the United States once you arrive. I'm Jeff Koslowski. Take care.
Thank you so much for joining us on the virtual tour of the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation. We hope you enjoyed your time, and we're so looking forward to seeing you come second semester. PAX is working really hard to make sure that you have a fantastic experience, both first semester virtually and second semester when you arrive. You have a great team behind you, and we're really looking forward to your successful program. Thanks so much. Bye for now.